Fans, welcome to the Strudel Financial Arena here on the campus of Bowling Green High School. Of course, it's the home of the Purples, and for this weekend, it is the home of the Mid-South Conference Basketball Tournament. I'm Brady Labor. This is Nate Metz, and we are here on the Mid-South Conference Network. And Nate, we've already seen one quarterfinal game here earlier today where the number one seed Georgetown Tigers took control from start to finish. They have advanced, and they will find out who their opponent is in the semifinals with the winner of this game. It's a battle of the Bears. It's number 4 seed Shawnee State taking on the number 5 seed UPIKE.
It was a very logical start to this quarterfinal round, but I'm looking in this game to see if UPIKE can get a little pep in their step, right? They've traveled a long way going from Eastern Kentucky all the way over here, but, so have the Bears of Shawnee State coming down from Portsmouth. They've traveled a long way to meet up in Bowling Green, kind of clashing styles. Shawnee State got the best of UPIKE the last time out and beat them by 10. Will the higher seed prevail again? Will that current form hold, or will we see our first upset in the quarterfinal round? It'll be a minor upset with a 5 over a 4 seed, but Brady, on paper, this is supposed to be the closest battle of the quarterfinal round.
Of course, the season series was split amongst these two teams with the home team winning each time, so this is the rubber game of the series. And the thing about Pikeville is not only had to travel across the state, but they had to play on Tuesday to even have the right to be there, and they played a close nail-biter against what turned out to be late in the season a very upstart team in Wilberforce.
Yeah, that was a tight game all the way through. I had a chance to watch it, and I was kind of biting my fingernails toward the end, and I know
the
that
UPIKE fans were
yeah, they were not in a good place, but they were once the game was over, and they won by 2 over the Bulldogs, and they're going to need a little more of that dog in them if they're going to beat Shawnee State tonight, because Shawnee State is much better than Wilberforce. They're much more put together than Wilberforce, but they are, again, vulnerable. They haven't been perfect throughout the year. You mentioned that UPIKE beat them originally back in the 6-0-6 down at home, and if they can win at this neutral site against UPIKE, I think they've got some good mojo against Georgetown, who's waiting for whoever wins this one. I'm not sure who's going to win. Both teams are very well coached. Ty Compton for UPIKE and Delano Thomas for the Bears of Shawnee State. Delano Thomas, a national championship winning coach, so both have very strong coaching chains, and we'll see what players can shine tonight and execute those game plans in this second matchup on quarterfinal Saturday.
Well, it's a battle of the Bears. You talked about dogs, but Bears will be the order of the day here in game number 2 as the starting lineups are being announced, as UPIKE will go with the traveling black jerseys and the orange letters and numbers. Shawnee State will go with the home whites, and that dark navy blue will be accented by what looks like a little gray, maybe a little silver. It depends on if you're colorblind or not, but it's the home jerseys here for Shawnee State as we take a look at the starting lineups here. And I don't have them refreshed here on our board, so we're just going to have to go by what we see, and we'll start with Pikeville. They're the visiting team. Kean Warricks, a freshman out of Pikeville, Kentucky, will wear number 0. He'll be joined by Corbin Spencer out of Sandy Hook, Kentucky. He'll wear number 2. Joining them in the backcourt will be Devin Collins. He's out of Chapmanville, West Virginia. He will wear number 10. And then, of course, Teddy Parham, the 4th guard. He's the leading scorer and best defender, wearing number 12. He's a first-team all-conference player. And the lone forward that's listed in the starting lineup will be Corbin Spencer. He wears number 2. I already said him. I'm talking about number 4, Jacob Brown. For Shawnee State, it'll look like this. They'll be led by their point guard, Brandon Beavers. He will be the one with the ball in his hands most of the time. Jaden Geist will join him. Beavers wears 24. Geist, a sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio, wears 22. Isaac Abergood, it seems like he's been here a long time.
Long time.
The senior from Australia will wear number 11. And then down low, it will be, here it is, number 0 from the state of Georgia. His name is Felix Uadiale. That's pretty close, right?
Pretty close, at least. Uadiale, yes.
But everybody
Felix,
knows. But Latavius Mitchell is their stud. He's a first-team all-conference player, and he is second in the conference in rebounding, and he is the guy that everybody seems to be focusing on.
He's the engine of this team. He is an energy bringer, and he also is really good at basketball. Look for him to make things happen, Brady. Sometimes they'll be a little questionable, maybe not go the way of Shawnee State, but more often than not, he is a productive player, and they're going to need all of that and more if they're going to beat the Pikeville Bears and get on to take on Georgetown.
Ua Diale wins the tap, and Shawnee State will have the ball first. There's Abergut with it left side. He'll get it over to Beavers. Beavers leads the team in assists. Now they'll get it into Mitchell with the left hand, rattles out, no good, and it's rebounded by UPIKE. Can't call these teams Bears because they both are. We'll have to resort to their given names, and UPIKE is even a nickname for the University of Pikeville. Boy, nice denial of the dribble handoff there by Beavers. As Warwick's was in trouble, he gets it down to Spencer, who throws it away.
Well, fast and loose with the basketball, and immediately a travel called. So we've got another turnover, and UPIKE will have it.
The defense will be the order of the game in this one. It sure does look like. As Keenan Warwick's got in trouble there in the backcourt and needed help.
Brady in this half-court said, I know Parham's going to inbound the basketball, but you got to get it back to him. Get him a touch early. He's the leading scorer in the Mid-South Conference, averaging 17.7 per game.
And that's a moving screen called against Corbin Spencer. And they will go the other way, an offensive foul there. Spencer was trying to free up some space from Warwick's, who had struggled in that first possession, as he was being guarded there by Trey Bumgardner. It's like Bumgardner's the one who's going to get the start in place of Jaden Geis. So Bumgardner wears number 3, but it's Uad Diale with the stick back.
Great job by Felix, just staying strong, getting the second chance. Drawing first blood here, a minute 10 in.
So it is number 3, Trey Bumgardner, who gets the start ahead of Jaden Geis, both from Columbus, Ohio. As the bucket on the other end is the answer for UPIKE.
Yeah, good start for Parham. Again, get the ball in his hands. Continue to get him touches early. The more involved you get him, the better off you'll be going into halftime.
Here is Bumgardner. He had a big game that we called down at Thomas More a couple weeks back. Actually, that was last week.
Yeah, he can really light
Thursday.
it up.
Here's Abergut with it. Out to Bumgardner. No good. And a long rebound that'll kick all the way off the sideline out of bounds. It'll go to UPIKE.
I don't think Abergut read that ball very well off of the rim. It seemed like he was charging in, thinking it was going to be a short rebound that he was going to have to go over defenders to get, but instead it bounces over his head and into the hands of UPIKE.
There's Spencer with it. Gets it across now to Warwick's. Nice ball movement there. Spencer for 3, no good. And it's rebounded there by Bumgardner.
Not a good start for Spencer. A couple missed shots and some turnovers.
And that is knocked out of the hands of Bumgardner by Jacob Brown. It'll stay down here with Shawnee State.
Shawnee State 1 for 5 out of the gate. Offense has not been flowing early on, Brady, but plenty of time still for that to kick up.
There it is on the inbound. Felix Uadiale with a stufferino with authority. And he looked like he got tied up there when he landed.
Brady, we saw Uadiale have a couple of really tough looks against Thomas More a few weeks ago. Getting second chance tries, but just couldn't finish it. That time, no chance. He was letting it fall outside of the cylinder with a big-time dunk.
Warwick's gets himself into trouble, got into no man's land, and now here's Uadiale. Finger roll no good, a tip-up no good by Mitchell. Uadiale comes up with a rebound. Now it's Bumgardner.
An amazing offensive rebound by Uadiale, just showing that he's the best physical player in that group.
Uadiale averaging 7.7 rebounds a game. It's good enough for 4th in the conference, but only 2nd on his team. The best offensive rebounding team in the Mid-South Conference are the Shawnee State Bears, as Beavers misses the straight-up 3. And here comes Spencer, and it's kicked. Not intentionally there by Beavers, as that pass was pretty much at his foot. He was trying to get one of those long bounce passes to lead Parham. And unfortunately for UPIKE, Beavers was able to get his leg in the way.
Let's see him feed Parham again. See him standing there toward the corner, now run the baseline.
Here's Collins with it. He's trying to get it out of his own hands. Finally does. Now it's Warwick's. Out to Parham. Back to Warwick's.
There.
Well, as you just said, number 12, Trey Beard, comes in out of Chillicothe, Ohio for Shawnee State. He'll replace Isaac Abergut.
You never heard that before? The Trail of the Lonely Pine? I think that's an old song about that area in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Why are
that
you
Big Stone Gap.
suspecting I would have heard of it because it's an old song, as you quite amply described it?
You're a man who knows his music, Brady. I'm just making sure.
I ain't not like that, my man. I know about Hoosiers, the movie. How about that floater there by Jaden Geis out of Westerville South? Didn't have a comeback for that one, Nate, did you?
No.
Okay.
I see. I've been on this earth long enough to watch Hoosiers. I don't think.
Really
There's so many movies that you can watch.
Basketball fan, that is a must-see. Even if you don't end up liking it, you still, because some people don't like it. Oh wow, look at that! You got to like that shot there out of the corner. Bradley Bunch getting in the book quickly.
Bradley Bunch picking up and finding some space to tie this game up at 8. Shawnee State's been getting downhill and finding themselves on the low post to score. UPIKE having some mojo from outside.
Geis with the lefty three-point shot, no good, and Spencer gets the rebound. Nice lead pass to Parham, who lays it up and in.
Teddy Parham out of Notre Dame High School, came on in from Shadron State, but he's a Los Angeles, California kid, and those big lights weren't too bright here, Brady. They were able to get him the basketball, and now he's got 2 field goals made today.
Kind of an up-and-down affair here as far as getting up and down the floor here in the early going. Stark contrast to the game we just watched. And how about Geis getting to the rack and putting it in?
I thought he got fouled by Bradley Bunch on that swing through, but hey, man, it's Mid-South Conference.
I think
take some
coach
contact.
did as well. Delano Thomas, as you mentioned in our open, led the Bears to a national championship just a couple of short years ago. And the whistle away from the ball, and who's going to get caught up in this? Catching that charge is going to be number 0, Felix Uadiale. So he'll commit his first foul, and checking in for Pikeville is number 24, Mark Vance, a 6'7" sophomore out of Knoxville, Tennessee, a transfer from Central Georgia Tech.
A guy who doesn't get a ton of run in these games, but when you're going up against players like Latavius Mitchell, you got to put someone on him, Brady. And Vance, a guy who plays about 11 minutes a game, but he can bring a physical presence that Mitchell's going to have to figure out.
I'll tell you what, he looks the part, that's for sure. He's what some people would call a get-off-the-bus guy, as Uadiale had to wipe off what looked like maybe a little bit of blood off of his knee. Get them floor burns going.
Wearing the white jerseys, can't mess them up this early in the tournament.
Well, and you can't hide it either. A black jersey, you can hide a drop of blood.
Not so much on the clean whites. I like this uniform pick for the Bears out of the gate.
Hans tries to one-hand catch that ball and then had to go chase it down to retrieve it. Here's Parham. Dribbles into 3 guys, has it knocked away, and he finds Vance down low.
Excellent feed from Parham. He had, 3-4 guys around him, still threaded the needle to the big fella.
It's a 2-point Pikeville lead after that bucket. That breaks the tie. And now again, a ball on the ground and a tie-up, and that was good defense there by Keenan Warwicks. He knocked it away from Trey Beard. And that will go to UPIKE. And that's where the defense was rewarded for a jump ball. That's the way it should be, Nate.
Every single time. In fact, it's kind of a coin flip now, whether it's going to help the defense out or not. But I don't like that decision by Beard. He just kind of dribbled into the middle. Oh, that's a nice basket for Spencer off the feet from Bunch. But, yeah, I don't like Beard just dribbling into traffic for no apparent reason. Didn't seem like he was planning on getting rid of the basketball. So just some decisions need to be made by that point guard to clean things up.
Here's Beard. Looked like he was trying to get it to Uadiale. Couldn't get there. Now Uadiale sets the screen, would freeze up Beard. No good. And Mitchell gets the offensive board. And he finds Uadiale, and no good. And he will be fouled.
Felix Uadiale not happy that he wasn't able to finish that basket and get the and one opportunity, but Brady, he's playing with a lot of 1-2. We've seen that a lot out of him this season. He's got a high motor that few people can match, and when you do that with Latavius Mitchell out there too, it's no surprise where they're the top rebounding team offensively in the Mid-South Conference.
He was a great player on the Division III level at Maryville College, and has fit right in here on the NAIA level as Shawnee State will bring in substitutions. Trey Bumgarner will return, and then we will see for the first time, number 33, Azubuike Nwakwu, out of Dover, Delaware, but he has ties to the Cincinnati, Ohio area where he played at Walnut Hills High School, and his brother is a member of the Thomas More University basketball team who sat out this year as a redshirt, Abba Lal.
Abba, we haven't seen a lot of either over on the Thomas More side, but it's one thing for sure, in that line of blood, there is a lot of height, apparently, because those two are very, very tall drinks of water.
Right now, Latavius Mitchell is having his shoulder worked on, his left shoulder, as he's out of the game. Uad Diale is taking a break as there is a long three-pointer, and it is good by Teddy Parham Jr.
7 points now for Parham. No surprise that he's getting going. Glad they're feeding him the basketball, letting him decide whether or not he wants to get involved this early in the ball game.
Beard gets it back to Bumgardner. Here's Jaden Geis for three, no good. And the rebound is picked up by Spencer thanks to a great block out steal by Mark Vance. But on the other end, the run out and the layup is good by Bradley Bunch. And Delano Thomas says, we're going to stop everything right here, as he does not like how his team was defending in transition and calls a timeout.
Yeah, just a 30-second timeout, Brady, but I think a good one by Delano Thomas. Just regather the troops, talk about, hey, we're getting a little bit lax on defense. We're not getting back in transition. Make sure that you're hustling. Make sure you're taking care of that basketball. Only down 7 right now. A lot of basketball to go.
9-2 run here by UPIKE. But yeah, it was back and forth until UPIKE kind of blew it open a little bit here on this current run, and Shawnee State wants to make sure they don't fall too far behind here, as this is a number 4 versus number 5 seed matchup between a couple of teams with the nickname of the Bears. Shawnee State, the high seed, they played their way in by getting the first round bye, and it was UPIKE playing their way in by having to go on the having to host Wilberforce and beat them in what was a tough game that came down to one possession at the end.
Yeah, 71-69 in that contest against the Bulldogs of Wilberforce. And Teddy Parham Jr. didn't really knock anyone's socks off in that ball game. Just 14 points in that game, 7 in their 1-point win against Thomas More. He's already got 7 today, Brady, boding very well for UPIKE at the moment.
See what Shawnee State can do out of the timeout there, as Bumgardner has it now. The crossover, he'll step back and bury a long three-pointer from straight away, and that's a good way to stop a run out of a timeout there, is to bang one in. And all of a sudden, it's a 4-point UPIKE advantage.
And not a lot of ball movement, but it works out. So you win the possession, all is forgiven.
Let's see what Pikeville can do here. This is Warwick's on the right side. He crosses over. Gets it to Collins. And his skip pass is deflected out of bounds by Beard. It'll stay right there, and that will take us to our first media break of the game. The UPIKE Bears lead the Shawnee State Bears 19-15 as we take a break here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Welcome back to the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Brady Labor along with Nate Metz. We are here in quarterfinal number 2. The second of 4 games here to be played at the Studel Financial Arena here on the campus of Bowling Green High School, which is the home of the Purples here in region number 4. And right now, Pikeville with the ball in a 4-point lead, Nate.
Yes, and only 4 seconds on this shot clock coming out of the break. So look for UPIKE to get this ball in from Parham, and then maybe one extra pass and a very quick shot. Not going to be easy. We'll see if they're able to convert.
Baumgartner guards the inbounder, and they get the pass out the bunch. No good, and the long rebound is chased down by Jaden Geis.
It's not a bad look, though. Good rebound by Shawnee. Let's see if they can answer.
Really appeared to be wide open, to be honest, but just got to knock that down. See what Shawnee State can do as Isaac Abergut is back in the game for them. Baumgartner dancing around the top of the key. Gets it out to Abergut with the purple shoes. Misses the three. And it's rebounded on the far side there by Parham. And he's going to try to go coast to coast. Runs into a roadblock. Knocks it out of bounds. And that was not very great decision there making there by Parham.
No, not very graceful. Just trying to run through a couple of defenders. In the Mid-South Conference, that ain't going to work for you every single time. It's especially against a physical team like Shawnee State that doesn't mind a little bumping, right? They are a tough team.
He
physically.
ran directly into Ezebuke and Wakwu, and he didn't do anything but stand his ground, and the ball just came out of his hands for an easy turnover. Here is Beard. Inside the arc, no good, and it's rebounded by Spencer. Here he comes, up the middle. It's 1-on-4. He floats it, no good, and that's two straight times that UPIKE went one against the other team in a fast break opportunity.
Not a winning equation.
Here is Baumgartner. The spin and the fall away, no good, and right now both teams in a drought as Parham will bring it across. He'll pull up for three, top of the key, good. Teddy Parham Jr. breaks the drought for both teams and extends the UPIKE lead out to 7.
12 points already for him out of the 22 that UPIKE has scored. So they've really wanted to get their superstar going early, and it's paying dividends.
Here's Geis, no good. And it's chased down by Vance. Here comes UPIKE. Parham. He'll take it himself again, and this time he'll draw the foul.
I really like the effort that time by Parham, able to contort his body a bit so he could get a clean shot up. A couple possessions back when he just ran straight through a defender or tried to run through a defender, I feel like he wasn't able to contort his body to make it at least seem like he was taking a shot. This time, about an 80% free throw shooter is going to head to the free throw line, and he's got a chance to extend this lead out, maybe even to 9.
Jaden Geis commits the foul. It's his first and the team's fourth. As Parham goes to the line and makes the first one, and now an array of substitutions are made. Keenan Warwicks returns for Pikeville, and 3 players return, all 3 starters for Shawnee State. Felix Uadiale will come back in along with Brandon Beavers and Latavius Mitchell. That's pretty much their big 3 offensively. And Parham ends up making both free throws. Parham, who averages nearly 18 points a game, cashes in those 2.
And he had more than 20 in both games against Shawnee State this year. He's well on his way to pulling that one off again.
Baumgartner is fouled as he drives through the lane, missing the shot, and it's Keenan Warwicks. Keenan commits his first, and that's 3 against Pikeville.
Yeah, back to what I was saying about Parham against Shawnee State. He had 22 at home in their win over the Shawnee State Bears. As the first free throw is good for Baumgartner. And then the second time over in Portsmouth, he ended up dropping 29, and they lost by 10 in that ball game. So he's a guy who likes to score against Shawnee State.
Baumgartner makes them both. Excuse me. The transfer out of Ashland University in Ohio. And it's a 24-17 Pikeville lead. There's Warwicks with it. They swing it around. Now Parham has it left side. They get it into Vance, who's guarded by Mitchell. It's knocked away by Mitchell, and then another defender comes and trails from behind Baumgartner, and he knocks it out of bounds. And that'll leave 13 seconds left on the shot clock for Pikeville to work with as they make another pair of substitutions. Bradley Bunch returns along with Jacob Brown. Get it into Warwicks. 10 on the shot clock. He's looking for the high ball screen, and he'll reject it. Instead, he'll get it to Bunch for 3, and he knocks one in.
Bunch, 37.5% three-point shooter on the year. Very impressive stuff as he's getting things cooking early.
There's a three-pointer out of the corner, no good by Beavers. Diale looked like he went over the back on Bunch, no call, and now Parham has it momentarily, but he's laying on the end zone line, and that will keep the ball with Shawnee State.
Shawnee State 1 of 8 from downtown in this first half, Brady. We saw the Cumberland Phoenix not get it going from deep early on, and they ended up losing by a lot. Mitchell's going to find himself on the free throw line, but I'm not sure how they're going to find open shooters from outside. They've had a couple of chances and haven't executed. They're going to need to find someone to get hot outside. I'm looking for Bumgardner. I'm looking for Abergut, who's had a lot of big shots in this gym before. Someone's got to hit one from deep.
That's the second foul called against Felix Diale. And that one misses by Mitchell. Mitchell, just a 53% free throw shooter. Transfer out of Ivy Tech Community College. Calls Indianapolis, Indiana home, and his high school, like many of them there in the Circle City or basketball factories, his just happens to be North Central.
One of the many, like you were saying, be it that, be it Ben Davis, be it so many other
Ben
great.
Davis, Lawrence North, Cathedral, I mean, there's just so many. Here is Parham, over to Warwicks. It was a low pass, so he'll have to regather. Gets it into Parham, 10 on the timer. He dances, he moves, and a nice little underneath pocket pass to Jacob Brown, who cashes one in. And now on the other end, Beavers in a hurry gets down there. And Shawnee State, they are starting transition out of made baskets. At least that time they did. Here's Beavers going baseline, and he steps out of bounds. And that's what I keep talking about when I'm the analyst. When a guy drives baseline, you need to step on that end zone and make the out-of-bounds line an extra defender. And
Warwicks is a little guy, right? He got called for the last time on a foul, but this time he cleaned things up a smidge. I don't think he fully got that foot on the line, Brady, but he was getting awfully close.
29-18, Pikeville with the lead in the ball. Just under 7 minutes left in the first half. Warwicks is all alone, and he's going to call his own number. Why not? But he misses it. Comes up short, and Mitchell gets the rebound, and he brings it up. Nice move from coast to coast. Latavius Mitchell with the lay-in.
I guess just keep getting downhill. If the shots aren't falling from deep, play a little bully ball. He was able to take him wire to wire.
There's Parham for three, and he hits one. Nice little kind of a seal, kind of a screen there by Jacob Brown. Either way, it opens up the open look there, and Parham does the rest.
He's 3 of 4 from deep, now 15 points in the first half. Watch out, Parham just getting started.
Here is Bumgardner through traffic, and he finger rolls it in. Trey Bumgardner, and right now these two teams are trading buckets, but Shawnee State needs to get stops.
They do,
by 10.
And on top of that, they haven't been able to really get any stops via steals. They like to get downhill. Points off turnovers could be a huge game changer for them.
Going baseline was Parham. He hits Bunch, and he hits a three ball out of the corner pocket. And I think Pikeville was the one who called the timeout.
So they will, and Ty Compton coming out and having a little giggle with the officials. But Brady,
Evan Faulkner, the associate head coach, was clearly very demonstrative. He loved what he saw there.
And Brady, I don't know if this UPIKE team can get more hot from outside. If they do, I'll be shocked. 7 of 10 in the first 14 minutes of this contest. 70%. They're perfect from the free throw line, shooting 68% overall. This is a UPIKE team that isn't making a lot of mistakes. And here's the thing, too, Brady. I think that UPIKE is hitting a lot of those big shots because they're getting open outside. And I think that Shawnee State kind of battling in the low post. They're focusing on making sure they're stopping the points in the paint and then stopping Teddy Parham when he does have the ball in his hands, are giving other opportunities for the Bears. And they're burning them so far. All Pikeville early in this game.
The ball doesn't stick on offense, and they're setting a lot of screens and seals for each other to get them open, and it's the quick recognition, the quick trigger. And right now it is all UPIKE here, and Shawnee State really got bailed out, I feel like, by Pikeville taking the timeout, but I don't like it, but I get the reasoning coaches say when they do that. They're on a roll, they're hot, and then they hurry up and call a timeout and ruin all the momentum. It's to change defense.
Exactly, and you're setting up your defense because you don't want
Used
Shawnee
to be they would call it from the sideline, and you'd have a veteran player who would recognize it and make sure that they got the team organized. But I guess they just don't do that anymore.
And
now, as I finish barking at the clouds, Nate, we can move on to live action, right?
Exactly. and again, as that ball gets thrown away by Bumgardner, looking at the assist total for each team, you said it's not sticking for UPIKE as we're going to have a media timeout here come up in just a second. 11 assists for UPIKE, only 2 for Shawnee.
And the ironic thing is they could have waited and got the free timeout without burning one and taking it with them, but we will take it with the teams as well right here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Welcome back to the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Brady Labor along with Nate Metz. 5:40 left to go in the first half, and the Pikeville Bears leading the Shawnee State Bears by a score of 35-22. And it's been the Teddy Parham show so far, Nate. He has scored 15 points so far in this first half, and for him, that's only, 2.7 short of his season average.
Yeah, exactly. And again, he comes to play against a Shawnee State team. I said that both times that he played Shawnee State, he had more than 20 points, 22 and 29. And Brady, 29 is his season high. And he didn't do it against cupcake teams, right? He did it against Shawnee, and he did it again against Georgetown. So he's a guy who likes to, when the pressure's on, he's playing good defensive teams, he just shines brighter.
He did have a 33-point game earlier in his career against Trinity International. But, yes, in Mid-South Conference action, 29 points in a game is pretty darn good.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a conference that prides themselves on a lot of tough defense and physical defense. And for Teddy Parham, a guy who can hit shots from outside, but also a guy who can get downhill and score from the low block. I mean, he's doing it all.
Spencer drives and misses. It's rebounded by Mitchell, and he doesn't need to throw an outlet pass. He can just get it across himself, but instead gets it to Beavers. Once the half court is what is established here is how they will attack this set. Reach in there by Spencer. He couldn't secure it. As Beavers with 6 on the timer gets it to Abergood. He'll fake, he'll drive, he'll shoot. No good, and it's Mitchell with the stick back.
And rely on your senior or your upperclassmen at least to get you back into this game. Rely on your leaders, and Mitchell with an offensive rebound and put back. That's his bread and butter.
Parham, no good, and it's rebounded again by Mitchell. Mitchell will find Beavers. Beavers drives through contact off the banking board and in. And right now, Shawnee State is starting to make their comeback.
Yeah, out of the second timeout that we had in a couple of seconds, seemed like Shawnee found their purpose. That's something that I've talked with Coach Delano Thomas a lot about with his squad. It's all about finding your purpose. What purpose do you have in being here? We're trying to win a conference championship. And then what's your purpose? We're trying to win another national championship. Delano Thomas has instilled that purpose in his players. They're built where they're born with it. They've got that want to. Now can they go out there and execute? Trailing now by 9. Good start for them on this little comeback in this first half. But Ty Compton on the other end for UPIKE just needs to regather his troops, have him take a deep breath, and get back to that winning UPIKE basketball that put him out ahead by double digits in the first place.
You know, Pikeville's head coach Ty Compton under the learning tree of Kelly Wells, who, you know, in their last national tournament appearance as far as going to the quarterfinal round, which has happened 4 different times previously. That was in 2019. And he wants to get this team back to where that's been.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've brought one of those big red banners home. About a little more than 10 years or so, I believe, this UPIKE team. But they've got some great pieces, and Teddy Parham is certainly one of them as he's going to go to the line for 2.
Yeah, Kelly Wells, a fantastic coach on both the high school and college level. He won a state championship on the high school level for Mason County out of Maysville, Kentucky, and it didn't hurt that he had a fantastic player lead the way in Chris Lofton.
That helps too.
That was back in 2004, I believe it was.
Got a little perspiration on the floor, I believe, Brady. Got to make sure that's all mopped up right.
They knocked Parham on his backside, so make him earn these free throws here. But
Parham's been working, man. 15 points already. We're 15 minutes into the game. That's what you call efficient.
That's right.
Might have a little bit more if he can knock down some free throws. He's hit both of his chances so far today.
She said he's out of Los Angeles, California, the city of angels. Played at 2 different stops before ending up at Pikeville. Played at Santa Monica Community College and then Chardon State. After that, as Trey Beard will check in and Felix Uadiale will check out.
Have you been to L.A., Brady? Or you?
I have some family out there, but it's been a very, very long time since I've been there. I told you how long ago it was since I've been on an airplane. That's where my destination was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
LAX.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah, San Pedro is where they live now. But I kind of rely on them coming to see us because there's more of us here in, well, not here, but where I live, and I'm based out of northern Kentucky. Southern Cincinnati, as some folks would call it.
And in Pikeville, they very well might call it
Pikeville is
that,
the 606, and it's strong, and it's in the mountains, and it's up there. And it's tough and tussle. Not that South Cincinnati's not tough. It's just different. You got to deal with all those Buckeyes up there. And how about Parham through traffic, no good. And it's tapped out to the backcourt and grabbed by Spencer.
I'm a Buckeye by blood. I know what that's all about. Which some may shiver at the thought of, but
I have found myself in a lot of different circumstances and situations very luckily. As Spencer knocks that down. I've driven through Bowling Green many, many times on the way to what kids now call Nash Vegas, which has become highly commercialized, and I don't like it much anymore.
Broadway Street.
Yeah, it's just not the same, man, but it is the bachelorette party capital of the world. There's no question about that. Here is Mitchell. Didn't always used to be that way. Oh, little Heartbreak Hotel there as Vance grabs the board. New player in the game there for Pikeville. That's Kenyon Cutlip wearing number 14. First time we've seen him. He's a freshman out of Johnson City, Tennessee, on the east end of the state.
Down there toward the Cumberland Gap in that area.
That was, you know, Johnson City is part of what they call the Tri-Cities Village. Can you name the Tri-Cities, Nate?
Oh, well, Johnson City.
Johnson City, I gave you the one.
All right, I'm going to go Middlesboro?
No, they're all three in Tennessee.
Oh, are they in Tennessee?
Well, one of them borders Virginia.
I'm going to say Bristol.
That is Bristol, which is bordering, State Street right down the line. One side is Virginia, and the other side is Tennessee.
The last one is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
I just know Bristol.
It was the home base of Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh,
Morristown, Tennessee.
Yeah,
as there's a tip in. I believe they're going to give Mitchell credit for that one.
He should get it at least. I think he tipped it in.
That was close to being a goaltend. That looked like a Euro rule there where you were able to get it in the cylinder to tap it in.
I'll call my people in Paris and make sure that they make sure those rules come to America.
But to clarify for wrestling fans, the biggest town that Smoky Mountain Wrestling would promote was Knoxville at the Civic Coliseum, but it was based in Morristown because that's where Jim Cornette lived and many of the boys because it was midway between Johnson City and Knoxville. Oh, and there's a shot clock violation. I think they were mesmerized by my wrestling talk, R-A-S-S-L-I-N, that's wrestling, and caused the turnover, Nate. Yeah, I apologize, but not really.
Yeah, I think the people in Pikeville will understand. You know, they love their wrestling
That's a wrestling
much as
town.
anyone, so.
Oh, my goodness, is that a wrestling town?
Oh, but we'll get back to the scrap, I guess.
I don't know if there's people old enough to remember Ron Wright, but I tell you what, he had his airplane set on fire at that place.
Down in Pikeville.
Well, it was up in Pikeville.
They pushed it off the mountain, too, didn't they?
Well, I think it became folklore that part happened. They definitely set it on fire. And how about that? Brandon Beaver says, talk about me right now.
He's getting set on fire at the moment. Good job by Shawnee State to get this deficit back down to single digits. And now they're going to get the ball back with a nice physical defensive play.
Parham just lost his footing. He was trying to get a foul called, and now having a hard time letting go of the ball. And right now, Shawnee State and UPIKE are in a dogfight, but they're both Bears.
It's a fun first half of basketball, and it's an 8-point game. UPIKE still with the lead, but you just had that feeling that Shawnee State, they get a couple of threes to fall, and this game could look very, very different.
So we approach the 1-minute mark. Abergut misses the three, and Mitchell taps it out to Beard. Another chance for Shawnee State. The fake, the no-look pass, and Mitchell will be fouled as he lands on his backside. Hopefully everybody comes away from that car crash in one piece.
That tailbone smarting, it looks like. Maybe a lot of smarting for Mitchell as he's a little hobbly getting up, but hopefully he'll be okay. Talked to you a little bit before this game, Brady. Mitchell, one of my favorite players to watch in this whole on the Shawnee State team, but in the Mid-South Conference in total, because he is, again, that purpose. He finds that purpose. He doesn't really have to find the purpose. He's always living the purpose that Delano Thomas wants his players to continue to chase. And he's tough, and he's aggressive, and crazy things happen when he has the ball and when he's playing defense. We'll see if he can knock down these free throws.
The lefty rattles one out.
That's like the third time he's had a ball go like halfway down in the cylinder, and it just says, you know what? I'm not ready. Let's bounce out.
He does not have a soft touch, and, that served him well there to get fouled. But you got to have that finesse on the free throw line, and Mitchell kind of lacks that a little bit. But right now you could tell he is not feeling 100%, and he misses them both as Parham gets the rebound. Between free throws, Devin Collins and Jacob Brown return for Pikeville. And now Pikeville will slow it down here. They will not go for a 2-for-1 as they have the 8-point lead. Here's Brown with it. Over to Spencer. Spencer guarded by Beard, and away from the ball, tangled up there is Abergut and Devin Collins. And Abergut gets whistled for the foul.
They've been letting him play like that all game. I don't know why they just stopped that flow right there.
Because they had a foul to give, Nate. And now if there's another one for committed by Shawnee State, it will send Pikeville to the line. So we approach the 32nd mark of the half. Here's Bunch. A little give and go. Two-man game here. Here's Brown. Down in the painted area. The left-hand hook is too strong, and Mitchell gets it on the ricochet.
Let's see if they can get one solid look up, a solid offensive possession to go into the locker room with even more momentum. Maybe it'll be a 6-point game, 5-point game, whatever. Just don't turn the ball over. Put up a good shot.
6 seconds left to go. Baumgartner will rock the baby and now drive, and he loses it. Gets it back, and it's going to go out of bounds, and that one there will end the half falling a bit flat, but it was an entertaining first 20 minutes of basketball as the Pikeville Bears lead it over the Shawnee State Bears by a score of 38-30. Pikeville led pretty much throughout, but it was very entertaining as Shawnee State did play well.
Yeah, it got a little sloppy at times for both teams, and Shawnee State ice cold from downtown, 1 for 11, and they're still only down by 8. So if they can heat up a little bit from outside, hit a couple of big shots, I think they can make this game even closer. And for UPIKE, again, they've been in control this whole game. I know they're a little rattled maybe going into the locker room, but I don't know if they need to be. They are a good, solid team. They've beat Shawnee State before. They've got an 8-point advantage going into the second half. Use that as momentum. Stay strong. Hit some big shots. Get good, solid looks from outside. They're 70% from deep right now. Keep doing what you've been doing, and you can punch your ticket to take on the Tigers of Georgetown tomorrow at 5 for the semifinal bout.
Shawnee State is shooting well over 50% on 2-point attempts only, 11 for 21, but you add that 1 for 11 just like you calculated.
PU.
And it's a 37.5%
huge.
Shooting percentage, and it's going to be tough to win games, but right now it is an 8-point advantage for Pikeville. Shawnee State leads the rebounding advantage 16-13, including 5 of them on the offensive end, and that's the kind of way they want to play right now.
Yeah, it is. And for Shawnee State also, early in the game, they weren't forcing a lot of turnovers. They weren't getting out and running a bit. But toward the end, they were able to knock the ball out of the hands of UPIKE a bit more, at least. And you look at that turnover battle, 8 for UPIKE, 4 for Shawnee State. And the points off turnovers as well. You got 8 for Shawnee State and only 2 for UPIKE. So that's a stat I'm going to be looking at a lot in the second stanza of this ball game. But again, UPIKE fans out there, I know you're nervous. I know it's nerve-wracking. You want to go on to have a shot at Georgetown, but your team's still in a pretty good spot. You're getting spotted 8 points going into the final 20 minutes of this game. I think there's still a lot to be happy about in that orange and black locker room.
So Teddy Parham had 15 points right away. He ends up playing all 20 minutes, but only ended with 16 because I believe Shawnee State really did a good job of focusing on him and not giving him the open looks he had earlier.
Yeah, and Teddy Parham's going to need to do a whole lot more of what he was doing in the first, I'd say, 13 minutes of this contest. The last 7 minutes or so, everything kind of quieted down. And Brady, I want to go back to when the Bears of UPIKE hit that big 3 and a timeout was called, and then they had the media timeout immediately after that. So I feel like after that moment, UPIKE got really tight. They weren't flowing as much. And, I want to say that the prophecy came true on your part.
I'm annoyed by that. Our friend Rick Myers, who's a Hall of Famer, as a sports information guy and contributor at Northern Kentucky University, he pulls out what little bit of hair left is in his head every time that happens. He doesn't understand it. And like I said, I always ask coaches because I want to tell him what the reason is. And, yes, it is to set up or change their defense. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's a better way to do it. And most times they're right, but in that situation, you pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, well, we're talking heads. But I think at the end of the day, we will really be vindicated if, Shawnee State were to win this. But still,
not that we're rooting for anyone, Nate.
Well, we're getting paid either way. I was going to say, I have no issue.
You always get paid, and we want to make sure that we don't root for anybody, right?
No, well,
just want to make that clear here on the North.
I mean, and honestly, we're Thomas More guys through the regular season.
I put you in. I boxed you in that corner, didn't I?
Everyone knows that I'm a Thomas More guy.
Good, because they don't know who I am.
Delano Thomas and I have had a lot of good conversations, of course, up here on the Mid-South Sports Network.
That's right.
He's a great
guy. You're
the
voice of the league, Nate Metz.
I will say that also I wish that this year we'd have the opportunity to interview on the floor like we did last year, because Ty Compton for UPIKE, I was telling you before the game, one of my favorite interviews. He's so, tight in his words. He's quick. He knows exactly what he's going to say. It seems extremely professional and friendly. And that coaching tree at UPIKE, we were talking about Kelly Wells, but I'd say the Bears are in great hands with Ty Compton. And then on the other side for Shawnee State, Delano Thomas, what more can you say? He's a leader of men, right? He's a great motivator. And sometimes the X's and O's don't work out for Shawnee State, but they're so physical and motivated that they can will themselves to win even when the chips are down. Second half's going to be a great time, Brady. I can't wait for this 10-minute and 30-second break during halftime to be over.
Real quick here, I'll just go over a couple of the individual superlatives. We already talked about Parham with 16 points. Bradley Bunch with 18 off the bench for Pikeville. Those are the only 2 players in double figures for the Pikeville Bears. Looking at Shawnee State, nobody in double digits, but Felix Uadiale leads the way with 8 points. 7 points for Trey Bumgarner, but Latavius Mitchell, the guy you were kind of focused on, 7 points and 8 boards to lead the way on the glass. So, the effort is kind of spread out a little bit there as far as that goes. But I'm sure that Shawnee State would like to see more of a scoring output, but they would also like to see a better defensive effort as well.
Yeah, and Felix Uadiale, to your point, Brady, he had 8 points, but he had the first 6 of the game for Shawnee State, and then just real quiet, and I think that they need to get to him a little bit more. And I think that if Uadiale and Mitchell can keep pounding the glass, get a couple more tough offensive rebounds and work inside, if they then will have the thought, hey, I can kick it back outside to an open shooter, be it Beavers, be it Baumgartner, one of the Bs, they got to knock down those 3. I don't think they can still shoot 9% from downtown in a ball game and end up being victorious against a UPIKE team that has shot wonderfully from outside. A contrast of styles, I guess, between these 2 squads, and it's made for a fun first half. I don't know. Coin flip still, in my opinion. Good start for UPIKE, but there's still work to do.
All right, so we'll go ahead and toss it to a break, and we'll be back for second half action in about 8 minutes or so as we are here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Brady Labor along with Nate Metz, and it's the UPIKE Bears leading Shawnee State by a score of 38-30, with the winner getting the right to play in the semifinals in the first semifinal round game against the number 1 seed Georgetown Tigers tomorrow evening. All that coming up next here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Welcome back to the start of the second half here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. I'm Brady Labor. I'm joined by Nate Metz here. Pikeville with a 38-30 lead over Shawnee State here in our second quarterfinal game. The winner will move on to the first semifinal game tomorrow on the men's side, of course, scheduled for 5 p.m. Central Time, and that will be against the number 1 overall seed, Georgetown Tigers. But 20 minutes between now and then, Nate. Shawnee State trails by 8. What are they going to do there? And to speak of the devil, there's Kelly Wells right there making an appearance. What's Shawnee State going to do in order to take down the heir apparent there of Kelly Wells there?
And not going to be easy, but they're going to need to work inside out. They had some success early on with Uadiale and Mitchell getting inside. Let's do that again, but then kick it back out to someone like Beavers, someone like Baumgartner, Aberguth, one of your threats from outside. Get them hot early in this half and ride them all the way through to the wire.
UPIKE will have the ball first here in the second half. It looks like both teams going with the same 5 they started the game with. Here's Brown with it. He'll kick it out to Spencer. Warwicks. Back to Spencer for 3. Missed everything. Way too strong, and Beavers comes away with a rebound. Beavers through contact, lays it up no good, and Spencer gets the rebound.
Got to get back on defense.
Here's Brown with a run out, and he is fouled. That pass was just a little bit too far ahead of him, or else he would have had a surefire stufferino in transition.
Now, Brady, defensively for Shawnee State, that came out in like a 2-3 zone. So I think they're looking at the stat sheet, seeing that UPIKE was 7 of 10 from outside in that first half. And they're going to say, hey, you're going to have to beat us from outside. You got to keep shooting like you did in that first half. We're going to bet that you're not going to be 7 of 10 in this second half, as the first free throw is good. And I think that for UPIKE, you have to look at the monster, you have to look at the monster's teeth, look him right in the face and go right on through. Keep shooting from 3. Do not be afraid. I know the numbers say you're not going to shoot that hot all game. Prove everyone wrong. Do it again. You're going to have the looks. The looks will be there. We already saw one from Corbin Spencer that came up lame. They are going to have their opportunities from outside as well.
Brown splits the free throws, making just 1 out of 2, and now a whistle away from the ball on the other end while Shawnee State's on offense. And who is the offender? It looks like it's going to be Devin Collins to be tagged with the foul. So each team has committed 1 foul here in this second half.
I'm interested to see also how the officiating goes in this second half. It was fairly free in the first half. They're going to let them play a little bit. Will they tighten it up in the second? I'm not sure.
There's a long three-pointer, and burying it in the bottom of the sack there is Trey Baumgartner.
Watery shot from the guard.
Baumgartner shaves the deficit to 6. Here's Collins with it now for Pikeville, and he loses it. Got a little fancy with his handle. Here comes Beavers to Baumgartner. He can't convert, but he will go to the free throw line as he is fouled by Kean Warwicks. And Shawnee State, we saw them on that one run in the first half, and they're looking like they have that same fire in their belly.
Yeah, and Baumgartner, the best free throw shooter in the Mid-South Conference, 82.6% on the year. Just a phenomenal player. And he doesn't let me jinx him. Good.
Rattles in the first. He is 3rd in the Mid-South Conference in free throw shooting. That's probably why, Nate. You probably don't have the ability to jinx him at 82.6% from the charity stripe. He'll get a second attempt, and he'll make that one clean. A little bit of string music there on a free throw attempt.
He's locked in. 5 points already in the second half for Baumgartner.
Here's Warwicks with it, guarded by Baumgartner on the other end. Here is Parham, who had that hot start, and it's kicked out of bounds there by Baumgartner.
And that doesn't get the ball back in your possession, Brady, if you're Shawnee State, but what it does is make UPIKE reset underneath the basket where you've got guys like Mitchell, like Uadiale, who can get inside and take this basketball away, make things very difficult, and here we go.
A little miscommunication there, and it's Mitchell on the run out with the left hand. Hammer time, Stufferino.
Huge throw down for Mitchell. What one-handed, too?
That was a mental mistake there by UPIKE. They quit on that. And Mitchell surely did not, as he chased it down and slammed it home. As we're back to live action here, 2 minutes into the second half, it's all of a sudden a one-possession game. Pikeville looks rattled. Warwick's has it knocked away, and they call a foul on Baumgartner. I don't know about that one, as he has to be restrained there, but Warwick's was at best shaky with his handle.
Yeah, and a bailout for UPIKE, but again, I talk about how I'm not sure how the officials are going to whistle this second half. It seems like they're going to be a little bit tighter in the early going. A bit of a nickel-dimer against Shawnee State.
Warwick's will get help from Brown. Now Spencer. Nope, they can't get him the dribble handoff, so instead they'll pass it to Collins. Collins in the paint. High pass to Warwick's. He'll go for three.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
it. So Kean Warwick's, who was struggling handling the ball, knocks one down. Here's Abergut for three in transition. No good. And Parham, and they're going to call that one a loose ball foul. And which one was it? That is going to be called against Devin Collins.
Collins out of Chapmanville, West Virginia, transferred in from Division I school, though, Brady and Marshall.
The Thundering Herd. As Baumgartner will inbound it. He'll attempt to inbound it. He finally got it into Beavers.
Ooh, I thought Beavers would pull up there.
Oh, and he has his pocket picked there by Teddy Parham. Now it's a race to the bucket, and Beavers will foul him.
A tough spot for Beavers to be put in. He's backpedaling, trying to keep Parham, the best scorer in the Mid-South Conference, from going up and in for an easy two. Ends up getting whistled for another foul. But Teddy Parham, good job to turn some offense, out of a defensive stop. And UPIKE, I know things, again, have been a little bit shaky, but they're still in the lead by a handful. They're up by 5, maybe even more after these free throws.
Parham will go to the free throw line, and he misses the first. He a little too strong off the back iron. I feel like right now it's Shawnee State with the momentum, despite the fact that Parham had that steal and potential run out. We'll see. It's a game of runs, and we're early on here in this second half as well.
Plenty of time.
Parham makes the second, so he splits the pair. And Pikeville now enjoys a 6-point lead. 2.5 minutes into the second half here from the Stoodle Financial Arena here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, at the high school, the home of the Purples, and a long three-pointer. You talk about a little string music there, and a Trey Baumgartner.
Trey Baumgartner living up to his name. Another Trey for Trey.
And now it's back to a one-possession game as Pikeville leads by 3. Warwick's with it right side. He'll get it over to Collins. Back to Warwick's. Dribbles between his legs, drives, jump stop, nothing. He'll get it out to Parham, who's wide open, no good. A battle for the loose ball, and it ends up with Mitchell. Mitchell still with it. Gets it to Beavers. But Pikeville did a great job of getting back in transition. There's Abergut with it. And he throws a poor pass into the post and then commits a foul as Spencer was getting ready to blow right by him.
I don't hate the foul by Abergut because at least it stops a transition bucket potentially from UPIKE, but
you know what I do hate, though? Is that entry pass.
Yeah, well, not pretty, not pretty. So making the, maybe it's
I don't think
putting
Coach
perfume
Delano,
on a pig. Is that what you're doing in that situation?
I don't think Coach Delano Thomas
here?
really liked it. Did you say lipstick on a pig?
I said perfume on a pig.
Well, I said lipstick on a pig. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a surgical scar.
That could work out too.
Parham, how about that? A little up and over. Teddy Parham has just been the best player on the floor here in this game.
Much the best in this one. And he was really great out of the gate, slowed down a little bit going toward halftime, but looks to be back in form as this ball should stay with Shawnee.
It does, as Baumgartner will inbound it. In his own end zone. Off to the right, near side to the camera here as you watch it here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Mitchell lost it, tapped it out to Jaden Geist, who just checked in. And boy, that was not a pretty exchange there. And Shawnee State will try again, this time inbounding it on the sideline.
And Teddy Parham brings just such a different attitude to this UPIKE team that they have not had in the past, at least not recently. Teddy Parham can score from inside, score from outside, all 3 levels, you might say. And he's a guy who brings a little bit of that extra, yeah, I'm tougher than you. I am that tough.
A lot of contact there, and now a whistle away from the ball, away from the obvious contact. And what just happened here is the officials will come to the scores table. There might have been some sort of a clock malfunction. Right now we're looking at 15:54 left in the game and 11 seconds on the shot clock. Of course, we are not located at the scores table or even on the first ground floor. We're up in the second
clouds.
Level, which is a great venue as far as to watch the game for sightline purposes, but you miss out on that type of information.
They don't have it like in the NBA, where you go up to the microphone and
they actually make an announcement now. Northern Kentucky, where I broadcast games as well, you'll have an official, if they develop a relationship with you, actually tell you what happens as a courtesy, as that's a missed shot and an offensive rebound, and here's Mitchell laying it up and in.
Picking up the loose change. Good job by Mitchell, not letting that opportunity go by.
So it's a 3-point Pikeville lead, and they have the ball. Pikeville in the black jerseys. Shawnee State in the white. Well, there's a collision out front, no call.
I thought that was clean.
Warwicks with a floater, no good, and Mitchell gets another rebound, and now he will bring it out on the break. He gets it up to Geis. He drives. The lefty goes right, no good. Mitchell chases it down and off the glass and in. Latavius Mitchell on the right side of the rim goes up with the left hand off the banking board and in.
Too much man there, Brady. Latavius Mitchell just stronger than everyone else, and he wanted it.
Parham with an answer on the other end for three. Just when Shawnee had shaved the deficit to 1, Pikeville will extend it back out to 4 as Teddy Parham with a grown man 3-point shot there. And a timeout called on the floor. And what's the call here? Toss it to our first break of the second half? I'm waiting.
With bated breath. I think everybody's trying to figure this out. I think there might be some perspiration on the floor that
well, but the teams are using it as a timeout. We might as well just go ahead and incessantly talk like we usually do there,
yes.
Nate. But that's a big-time shot there by Teddy Parham.
Huge. 22 points for him now. He's 4 for 6 from downtown. I know that Shawnee's been keying in on him when he gets closer to the basket, and they triple team him, even quadruple team him, it seems. But they need to watch him outside, too. And it's easier said than done. I know there's a reason why he's the top scorer in the Mid-South Conference, but he's been doing it all today. And I said at the very beginning of the broadcast, they got to keep him involved. When you don't get him the basketball, sometimes you kind of get lost in the shuffle. But right now, 12 field goals shot for him today, 7 of which have gone in. And I think they just need to keep riding him. He is their superstar. Keep riding him through to the semifinals, and who knows how far they can go. I think that this UPIKE team will go as far as Teddy Parham will take them, not just in this Mid-South tournament, Brady, but in the NAI tournament as well.
Well, we're back to live action here as Shawnee State still don't figure out if anybody was charged a timeout there. They didn't make a signal.
I think they were just cleaning up sweat.
So a free timeout apparently. So normally the media timeout is at under 12, but if a coach calls one, it becomes a media timeout in addition, as there is a long 3-point shot by Abergut, and on the long rebound, a loose ball foul is called, and Mark Vance is tagged with the infraction.
Yeah, Abergut 0 for right now, 0 for 4 from downtown, 0 for 6 in total in the game. But all it takes is one shot to go through, right, Brady, and then suddenly the shooter has his confidence back.
Geis fakes it, now floats it into the elbow area, no good. And Bunch, who checked into the game, gets the rebound. Out to Spencer, crosses over. Now he'll get it to Parham, working on Uadiale. The kick out, it's Warwick's wide open for 3, short. It'll go out of bounds and to Shawnee State.
Yeah, good thought by Abergut, an experienced basketball player, not leaning too far over that baseline to save the basketball, knowing it was going to be Shawnee ball either way. And he's going to head to the bench, I believe, after a substitution was made. Again, Abergut got to just keep staying positive. You're 0 for right now. No worries. More opportunities are going to come.
Trey Baumgartner will bring it across the timeline.
He's a scoring leader for Shawnee so far with 15.
Still got it now. He'll give it to Mitchell out in the high post. Now Geis on the right side. Way downtown. That one almost banked in, and a loose ball foul. And that's going to be Bradley Bunch, who blocked out into Uadiale while he was in the air. Can't do that.
I guess. I don't know. I thought Uadiale went over the back, and Ty Compton's agreeing with me, but obviously. But it's that's a tough play. Uadiale, a freak athlete, obviously, with huge leaping abilities, but I thought he got a little too aggressive going for that rebound.
Here is Beavers with it into the corner. Baumgartner, too strong, and it looked like, yes, and it was off the fingertips there of Spencer, who couldn't corral it. He and another teammate, Vance, looked like they were both going for the ball, and then they both said, okay, you got it. Oops, neither one of them did.
And now Shawnee State has to remember the shot clock did not reset. Only 7 seconds to shoot it.
No change of possession.
I don't know if they know.
Here's Beavers trying to make a move at one. And no good, and Vance gets the rebound. It was deflected over to Parham, and now a reach-in foul there by Baumgartner.
Yeah, Baumgartner just kind of hassling Parham down the court and gets called for a very easy reach-in.
That's his third, so he will go out, and Trey Beard will return. Each team with 5 personal fouls. So each of them with a foul to give before entering into the bonus territory.
And without Baumgartner into the game, can Shawnee still keep up with UPIKE?
Here is Warwick's with it. Into the painted area, gets it to Parham. Parham, tough shot, and he'll be fouled. So Felix Uadiale will commit his 3rd personal foul, and Delano Thomas pleading his case, but to no avail.
We'll say, Brady, the Shawnee State women's basketball team here to support their men's squad. Men's team was a big reason, I would say, why the women were able to gut it out.
Huge reason. When those guys showed up in that game partway through the 3rd quarter, they changed the energy in the entire building.
Allowed Shawnee State to have one of the best wins, if not the best win, in their program's history under Dwayne Burrows.
Well, sure, and it's a short history. You know, Jeff Nickel had a lot of success there now at Georgetown, but, man, that was an incredible win last night against Thomas More, sending the number 2 seed home. And now, of course, for their troubles, they will get to the semifinals as Parham makes the free throw. I think the lucky part is they still are on the opposite side of the bracket as Campbellsville, and, you know, they've got a puncher's chance of getting the championship, but that's on the women's side. We'll talk about that more later on. Of course, that will be the 2 semifinals, will be the first 2 games tomorrow on the women's side. And Uadiale just commits his 4th foul, this time of the offensive variety.
Teddy Parham showing that he's not only tough, you know, when he goes against those defenders, he can also play good defense, too, as he stands strong and takes a shot from Uadiale.
Parham with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a great defensive play right there.
Brady, this seems like an extremely evenly matched 4-5 game. For once, it seems like
theoretically they're supposed to be,
It's supposed to be, but you know it doesn't always play out that way.
On the women's side, the 5 seed beat the 4 seed in a kind of a big comeback, an exciting game between. Oh, what a screen by Vance! I think I had a tooth loose on that one. And the Spencer with a long 2-pointer. He rattled my cage.
Now Shawnee State got to answer back. Down by 8 right now. Got to find a good look.
Here's Mitchell out to Geis. Geis, nice effort there to catch that ball. And now a foul. 2 guys fighting through screen there. And it's going to be Teddy Parham Jr. who's committing the foul for UPIKE.
That's his 2nd foul of the game.
And that is 6 on the Bears, 7 on Shawnee State, so both teams are in the bonus for the rest of the game. We'll start with the 1+1. We approach the 12-minute mark. Beavers way downtown, short, but it has the shooter's roll and falls through.
And Brandon Beavers begging for something to go his way, and he finally gets a long ball to hit.
And there's the answer, no good by Spencer, and the rebound by Beavers. Beavers has Parham fall down, lays it up after he jumps over top of him, and it goes in.
He's putting up punches and bunches, Brady. 9 points, 3 boards, 3 dimes.
An ankle breaker, and then he hurdles the defender And then there's a foul not called. And here is Bunch for 3 and another answer.
An extremely fun last couple of minutes.
Delano Thomas needs to be careful. He went all the way across the floor to meet the official who did not make that call as they debate the point here. But it's a media break here at the 11:32 mark. It's the Pikeville Bears leading the Shawnee State Bears 55-49 here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Welcome back, fans, to the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Brady Labor along with Nate Metz.
Yep.
We are in the second quarterfinal game here. 11:32 left to go in this one, and a very entertaining game, a battle of bears as Pikeville leading Shawnee State 55-49. And Nate, the winner, will face the Georgetown Tigers, but it is going to be a battle until we get to that point.
Yeah, a bear fight is a good way to describe this game, too, because these two teams are very physical. Maybe a little bit different in style. Shawnee's been getting downhill and scoring inside, where UPIKE's been hitting some really big three-pointers to get them this 6-point lead. Long way to go, though. Still 11:30 to the good.
There's Geis. He gets it into Mitchell, guarded by Vance. He gets behind him and is fouled. The hoop and the harm for Latavius Mitchell. So we used our floating media timeout, and now here's the real thing. And we will be at the free throw line when we come back here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Welcome back, fans, to the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. 11:24 left to go in this one. UPIKE leading Shawnee State 55-51. Latavius Mitchell with a bucket and a foul. He'll go to the free throw line here when we conclude this timeout, Nate. But tell you what, man, everybody's taking each other's body blows, but no one's thrown a knockout punch yet.
Yet is the key term, and I don't know when that's going to come. I don't know if it ever will come until the very last buzzer, but Brady Latavius Mitchell, 7 for 9 from the floor. He's been keeping the Shawnee State the Shawnee State team in the ball game basically throughout. Trey Baumgartner's hit a couple of really big shots. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Shawnee State. But again, UPIKE, it hasn't been flashy necessarily in this second half, but they're still doing enough to keep the lead. Will they be able to do so for the next 11-24? We'll find out.
So Mitchell will go to the line.
A lot of questions still to be answered.
To complete the old-fashioned three-point play for Mitchell, he has 15 points and 12 rebounds. And can't get that one to fall through. So it remains a 4-point Pikeville advantage, and they have the ball. There's Parham with it. Working on Geis. Aberguth reached in as a helper, and Vance with a three-point shot. Didn't expect that to come.
No.
Mark Vance, although in limited opportunity, a 40% three-point shooter.
Yeah, not a lot of, just small sample size, as we might say, but man, he hits a big one right there.
Here's Geis with it. The Beavers. Now Aberguth will come and screen. The switch puts Bunch on Beavers as he and Beard play catch. There's the spin cycle, short, and it's deflected into the hands of Kean Warricks.
Bad shot selection, good defense by UPIKE.
Here is Spencer with it. He'll circle back. Here's Bunch, right side, drives on Aberguth. He'll spin, up and under, no good. Aberguth gets the rebound. Long outlet down to Geis. But Vance closes out on him. He goes away, misses, and it's a foul out on the three-point area. That's a 25 feet attempt, falling backwards, and Parham commits the foul. And, Nate, that's a cardinal sin that was just committed by Teddy Parham Jr.
Yeah, we saw, what, a 5-point play yesterday, Brady? That was, or 2 days ago. That was a crazy, crazy women's basketball happenstance. Luckily for Parham, the three did not go in, so Geis is going to have to earn it the hard way. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's already a hard enough shot as is. Any three is already something you should be fouling on, but one that's that far away, I don't get it. But then again, Teddy Parham, pretty darn good basketball player.
Attending to Bradley Bunch as they found blood on one of his arms. And now I think Parham might have blood on him as well by the way they're acting. Or they want to give him special instruction.
I think the latter.
You saw something I didn't, because I was watching on the other end of the floor, them taking care of Bunch. And
he seems fine. I think it's just they wanted to.
You think Parham might have been talking too much to Shawnee State? I mean, I wasn't watching, but I mean, right now this is this is what you would call individual instruction. And now you hear the fans kind of giving it to Pikeville as the Boo Birds come out.
My favorite part of the year, Brady. When the Boo Birds fly north, south, wherever, they found their way here into Studo Financial Arena.
Well, Geis is going to go to the line after all that, and he will get 3 free throws.
2 more. He's got 1 more.
Yeah, he shot the first one. Yeah. He made the first, and he is going to make the second. And now they'll make the substitutions as for Pikeville, Jacob Brown returns, and for Shawnee State is Felix Uadiale. So Mitchell's the one who goes out. He'll take a break, and I'm sure he won't be out there on the bench too long. You got to get him ready for that stretch drive as Geis makes all 3 of them, and now he will take a breather, and it'll be Trey Baumgardner to replace him.
Jane Geis, not great from deep, 0 for 5 in this contest, but hit all 3 three-point or free throws, so.
Well, that makes it even more egregious, the fouling, while he's falling down 25 feet away. Anyhow, we're back to live action as we are approaching the 10-minute mark of the game. It's a 4-point Pikeville lead. Here's Warricks with it right side. He'll get it to Spencer. He's got Beard up in his shirt. Now he'll create some space from the elbow, and he knocks one down. That is Corbin Spencer out of Sandy Hook, Kentucky, the same hometown as one of their assistants, Evan Faulkner. Elliott County.
Elliott County. Home of Keith Whitley, the late, great Keith Whitley.
Right. Sandy Hook's a town you got to want to get to because it's not easy to get there.
No, not at all. It's kind of near Kentucky Christian University, not near Grayson.
You talk about Kentucky Christian, you bring up the alma mater of a good friend of mine, Eric Russell, the head basketball coach at Campbell County High School. Here is Spencer. He'll kick it out to Warricks. Now it's Spencer. He falls down on the crossover. Aberguth comes up with it, and he calls a timeout. I don't think he realized he had the possession arrow in his favor, but he was just trying to secure the ball the only way at that point he knew how.
By whistling for the official and They give him the appropriate call. 30-second timeout, so we can keep it here, Brady. But we got 2 more games here coming up today, and it's going to be a fun evening. We're only not even halfway done on this quarterfinal Saturday.
Correctly stated, you'll have 2 more games. I will depart here after this one, and we will bring in former Thomas More University Saint great All-American Taylor Close will join you in the analyst chair, and I'm sure she'll do a fantastic job as I need to head back home for a special assignment up in the NKY. I'll be doing the public address announcing for the 9th Region Tournament up at Northern Kentucky
What do you call it, the Great
Truist
Northern
Arena.
Front? Is that it, up in Northern Kentucky?
I think the rest of the state calls that the
do
Great
they?
Northern
Okay.
Front, yeah.
The Great Northern Front.
Yeah.
What's
Northern Kentucky's the most northern part of the state. Campbell, Boone, Kenton County. Sometimes Pendleton, Bracken, and Mason even get lumped
they get roped in there
but
too.
But they're not in the 9th region, so anyway, I digress. Well, Kenton County has schools that represent 3 regions, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. But that's a different story for another day. And being that people paid for this broadcast, we'll try to get away from that as we get back to live action here. Here is Uadiale, no good. He gets his own miss. He kicks it out to Baumgartner from downtown, short, and Spencer gets the rebound.
Yeah, in rhythm, but that was a really long three-pointer taken by Baumgartner. Not a fan of that shot selection.
The kick out from the corner, it's Warwick's, no good, and Abergut gets the rebound. Shawnee State now pushes, trailing by 6. Beavers still with it. Kicks it out to Baumgartner. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Baumgartner steps back, top of the key, no good. And it's rebounded by Pikeville. Spencer momentarily lost it, and he got it to Parham, who's been relatively quiet here lately. And he's out of control, and he's going to get bailed out. And it's a matter of which one they call it on. The guy that went flying, I think, is the one. No, it's not.
Felix Uadiale gets whistled for it. And he kind of got him with the body, Brady, and I think that's what they're calling that foul on. And you're right, Parham was a bit out of control, but
Uadiale, how many fouls does he have now? Is that 4 or 5?
That'll be in the stat book, what I've got in front of me, that says 5.
I thought it was.
So that should be all.
They didn't make a clear announcement. I did not hear the clear announcement. He should be fouled out. I believe he is as he walks off.
And the board says
3 which
fouls.
is completely not even close to being correct.
Yeah, that does not fall within
I thought that was his 5th foul, but that was just too egregious to not ask and make it awkward. And so I just went ahead and did, and, you know.
And a lot of times, too, when a player does foul, you have that big, long buzzer, right, to let everyone know in the gym.
That's usually another indication, but that did not happen either as we try to move away from this as quickly as possible.
And sweep it under the rug.
I still have the stat monitor showing with 4. Mine says 4 and yours says 5. How does that happen?
That's a weird world, Brady.
Good grief. Anyway, Parham makes the free throw. Adiali, well, I can't even give you there he is. There's the 5th one. So he is disqualified. He gets to take an early trip to the Dairy Queen as he is disqualified. He leaves with 8 points and 5 rebounds, and as you said, Nate, he scored the first 6 points of the game for the Bears.
Yeah, and then just not a lot after that, but he's a big-time rebounder for this team, and they're going to need to find a different punch, I guess, to come back against the Bears now of Pikeville.
So they bring Mitchell back in the game as a result. Geis rattles the long three-pointer out, and chasing loose ball, it goes out of bounds, and it's going to stay down there with Shawnee State.
Yeah, good effort by Baumgartner to chase that down and get them a second chance. I didn't think they had anything really cooking after that Geis missed 3. And, Brady, they don't need a 3 in this possession to get them, back into it. They got plenty of time.
There's still 7.5 minutes left to go in this one.
Just get a good shot.
It's an 8-point advantage for UPIKE, and it still is after that missed shot, but it's Abergut with the stick back.
Abergut finally getting on the scoreboard. Better late than never, Brady. His first 2 points in the game.
It's now a 6-point Pikeville advantage. They have the ball here. 7:05 left to go. Here's Parham with it. He blows by Abergut and has it knocked away by Mitchell. And here comes Shawnee State. Geis almost with the throwdown, and he's fouled by Jacob Brown. And there's a lot of folks wearing black and orange that disagree with that one.
There's a fellow wearing a blue suit right next to you, Brady, that disagrees too. Jacob Brown meets him at the summit. I thought it was clean all the way, and I get it. I think it was just such a violent throwdown from Geis. He was the one who created the contact in the first place. But, I mean, they'll take their shots at the free throw line, and it was a great defensive play to get him that opportunity, but I'm going to disagree as well. I thought Jacob Brown was clean as hand sanitizer on that play.
And that is saying a mouthful here in this age that we are in, Nate Metz. That is called a hot take. As Geis goes to the free throw line.
I am a bit beside myself on that one. But, I mean, I'm not, maybe not beside myself. I get it, but doesn't mean I'm going to agree.
Missing the free throw is Geis.
And you know what the UPIKE fans are saying, along with me, maybe the ball's not going to lie. We'll see. And maybe he'll make this one, and then who knows what's going to happen.
Then it's a fib.
It's a push.
He just did.
Yeah, it's a push.
He splits the pair, 62-57. Pikeville with the lead in the ball. And right now, Shawnee State shows some token pressure. It's been a good old-fashioned good one so far, and we still got plenty of time left in this one. As Warwick's, this looks like a 2-3 zone put on by Shawnee State.
Again, UPIKE's got to prove that they weren't just, it wasn't just a fluke first half for hitting big threes.
Nice bucket there by Bradley Bunch. Baumgartner gets it to Mitchell, who was trailing. Abergut kicks it out. Back down to Mitchell. No good. Loose ball into the hands of Brown.
Nice rebound by Brown. Not easy to get it past Mitchell and Abergut, but he was able to secure it.
Warwick's with it. Over to Parham. Parham hadn't scored in a while, even though he has 26. Here's Spencer for three. Too strong. Offensive rebound by Bunch. Pikeville will reset. Parham. Guarded by Geis. Parham sizes him up, and then 25 feet away from the basket, Geis commits the foul, and that'll take us to our final scheduled media break of the second quarterfinal round game. It's Pikeville leading Shawnee State 64-57 right here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Little geography biases going on here during the break on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. It had nothing to do with me, by the way.
We're having some fun.
Well, a little bit.
Having some fun.
I just wasn't the victim of it.
No, not this time. Not this time. Unfortunately, Zach Hawkins, our producer.
Just remember, don't be anybody's victim, Nate. I'll give everybody that bit of advice.
Don't make yourself a mark.
That's right. Brady? That's right.
I've learned something this
It's a predatory world we live in, my friend, and you do not want to be somebody's victim. As we get back to the real task at hand, and that is this quarterfinal matchup, number 2 of the day in the Mid-South Conference Men's Basketball Tournament. 5:48 left to go. Pikeville, who has led pretty much throughout of this one, have a 64-57 advantage over Shawnee State. UPIKE, the number 5 seed, taking on the number 4 seed Shawnee State. The winner will get the number 1 seed Georgetown Tigers tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time right here at the Stuttle Financial Arena on the campus of Bowling Green High School. Here, the home of the Purples is Ted Parham makes the first one. Every time I want to say Bowling Green High School, I was just up in Northwest Ohio earlier in the week. I keep trying to not tell myself this is Bowling Green State University.
It is not BGSU.
It is not BG.
Are they the Falcons?
Shout out. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Shout out to my friend Todd Walker, who is the voice of Bowling Green State football and basketball, and the voice of UNOH baseball,
Are they
by the
MAC?
way.
Are they the MAC?
They are in the
okay.
MAC, yeah.
Middle
There
America.
is an offensive foul called against Beavers. And Parham takes it. That'll be a turnover as well, and starting to run out of time to be making mistakes like that if you're Shawnee State.
And now for UPIKE, let's see him capitalize. Let's see him put one through the cylinder and make this a 10, 11, 12-point game.
Here's Warwick's with it now. He gets it to Parham. Parham, who used the screen by Bunch, and he throws it away. He and Warwick's not on the same page. They might have been reading the same book. Certainly not in rhythm.
Just stop giving Shawnee State so many opportunities. What we see in the Thomas More Shawnee women's game,
right.
You play with your food, bad things are going to happen.
Well, and the thing is that Shawnee State hasn't been able to take advantage of it. At least not in kind. Oh, that's thrown away. See what I'm saying?
Another one.
It's as if Shawnee State at times does not appreciate some posterity that are given their way. (66-57). UPIKE leads it. There's Warwick's over to Bunch. Bunch will drive. He'll pull up. No good. Got a hand on it. Actually got two hands on it, but it goes out of bounds. And it will go to Shawnee State. So we're under 5 minutes left in this one. 4:44 left to play. And a timeout called. I believe that was Shawnee State. I was looking the other way. They call a full timeout. Let's go ahead and take the break, right?
Let's do it.
Let's take the break here and give the sponsor some love here on the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Welcome back, fans, to the Mid-South Conference Sports Network. Brady Labor here with Nate Metz.
Hello.
4:44 left to go in this one. Quarterfinal number 2. Pikeville leads Shawnee State in a battle of the Bears, 66-57. Winner moves on to the semifinals, where they will take on Georgetown College. Coming up next is our third quarterfinal game coming up. It'll be the number 2 seed, Freed Hardeman, taking on Campbellsville. A surprising number 10 seed is the bottom half of the bracket here. Full of dogs. A 10 and 11 seed coming up. Thomas More will have the nightcap in number 3 against Lindsey Wilson. And a long three-point shot is good by Beavers.
Beavers waking up at the right time. He's been big in this second half. Down to a 2-possession game now, Brady.
6-point lead for Pikeville. There's Warwick's. They get it to Parham. Vance will set the screen. Spencer for 3 out of the corner. In and out. Beavers. Boy, he lost control of it momentarily and gets it back. 4 minutes left to go.
It's great shot selection, though. I have no problem with Spencer taking that three-pointer.
Here's Beavers. We'll get it over to Baumgartner. Baumgartner will get it back to Beavers. Ball fake, shoots, 4-3, no good. Vance and Mitchell battle for it. It's still loose until Parham corrals it. So Teddy Parham will jog it up. Still a 6-point advantage for UPIKE. They'll bleed some clock here.
Yeah, let him cook. Let's see Teddy Parham get a basket, put him back up by 3.
He has the ball now.
Possessions, I should
Warwick's. 9 on the timer. Warwick's will start over. He'll drive. He'll be ridden by Baumgartner and lays it up and in. My.
You need all 5'7" of him to get that one done, Brady, but he got it through.
I'd argue Shawnee State might be running out of time here, down by 8. Here's Geis with 3 minutes left to go. Nice bullet pass, and Mitchell with a two-hand stufferino.
Awesome stuff from Mitchell, and a good find, too, to get him the basketball.
Warwicks will get it across. It's a 6-point lead for Shawnee, or for UPIKE. There's Bunch. Now it's Vance. Parham with a spin move through traffic, and he's fouled.
Teddy Parham, 28 points in this one. Flirting with a 30-burger, Brady. If he can knock these two through.
Isaac Abergut commits his 3rd foul, and that's 10 total now on Shawnee State. It's the double bonus for both teams here on out, as Pikeville has 19 fouls. So the 1+1 option has been eliminated. Or I should say played through. Here is the first one for Parham, and he makes it.
So now back out to a 7-point lead. That's 3 possessions. 2:34 to go. Still time for Shawnee, but they're going to need some defensive stops, Brady, and they can't rely on UPIKE missing free throws, I don't think, to get them back into this game, as a timeout's going to be called by the UPIKE bench.
Parham makes them both, and he now has 30 points on the night, just 3 shy of a career high. And a timeout is called here with 2:34 left to go. Let's go ahead and keep it right here, Nate. It's an 8-point advantage for Pikeville. They can't seem to quite put Shawnee State away, but at the same time, Shawnee State just can't seem to get over that hump.
I think a lot of it is to quote Coach Thomas, the purpose of the Shawnee State team. They're a team with a high motor that don't quit very often. They're too legit to quit, as some might say. But this UPIKE team, they've played within themselves basically the entire game. They haven't gotten too crazy at times. They've had a couple of mistakes here and there, but they've played solid, good basketball all the way through, and that's a big reason why they're leading by 8 at the moment. Now, to get them through this last 2 minutes and 34 seconds, I'm expecting them to do one thing and one thing only to carry them home, and that is not turn the ball over. Ball security will be the difference maker in this final furlong of this basketball game.
Take a look at some foul trouble here. We already seen one disqualification. Felix Uadiale. He has already headed to the dairy queue. No, that's not true. He's just been disqualified, though. He's still out there, but with 5 fouls. But Brandon Beavers, he's another key component. He's sitting at 4 right now. No one else has any more than 3 for either team, so we got to watch out for Beavers as he will take the floor, along with Mitchell, Baumgartner, Abergust, and Geitz. For Pikeville, it will be Bunch, Spencer, Vance, Warwicks, and Teddy Parham, the leading scorer in the game, with 30 points. Shawnee State with it now. Through the lane, acrobatic shot. He was underneath the basket. No way he could make that one. And he gets bailed out on a foul by Mark Vance.
A very late whistle as well. I thought it was good defense from Vance, but now Shawnee with a little bit of life, getting to the free throw line, not taking any extra time off the clock. And Brady, to talk about Brandon Beavers a little bit, I know he's got the 4 fouls and kind of living on the edge at this moment, but when you're down 8 with 2:23 to go and he's one of your best players, you got to ride him. You got to let him play for the rest of it and just hope that he doesn't foul out.
So Baumgartner at the free throw line. And that's 4 on Vance, so that is the first Pikeville player to reach 4 fouls, as Baumgartner waits for them to clear up the wet spot. Has 15 points. He's 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He'll get 2 here. And it has just got eerily silent all of a sudden, Nate. Don't speak too loud.
My mouth is turned on low, at least, as far as the volume's concerned. Yes, does not happen often.
Baumgartner makes the first. And the second one goes through. He now has 17 points, tying him with Latavius Mitchell for the team lead. And now Shawnee State, trailing by 6, will pick up full court. It's a 2-1-2 look here as Warwicks will get it across, and he's been shaky with that handle at times here today.
And credit Shawnee for making him shaky.
Vance
getting on him
with a high ball screen to get him free, and now Parham takes it with 10 on the timer. He discards the screen by Vance, waves him off. Vance with the stick back attempt, no good. It goes out of bounds, and it's off Pikeville. It'll go to Shawnee State with 1:53 left.
Well, they got their stop. Can they get a score on the other end? Doesn't have to be a three. Just has to be a high percentage shot. Look for someone maybe even to work it into Mitchell, see if he can score on the low post.
Here is Beavers with it. He gets a screen from Mitchell. He and Parham are really fighting each other as Geis misses a long three-pointer. Bumgarner chases it down. No whistle. It's out of bounds off of Bumgarner. There was a collision there along the sideline, and the whistles got swallowed.
Yeah, they did, and that's unfortunate. I thought it was a good hustle play by Trey Baumgartner on the opposite side, but Spencer ends up getting away cleanly, and UPIKE can take a little bit more air out of the basketball, Brady. Work this down, 90 seconds left to go, and I'd expect them to take this shot clock all the way down.
Spencer gets it over to Bunch. Now it's Warwicks as they try to bleed clock here. They're not even going to think about a shot until under 10 on the shot clock. Warwicks drives past Mitchell. It's a cone drill to the rim, and it goes in, and Pikeville will call timeout with 1:08 left to go, and a big-time finish there by Kean Warwicks.
When I was a kid, I loved the movie Stuart Little, Brady, and he would drive, I think at the second one, he would drive this little RC car around or whatever. That's exactly what Kean Warwicks looks like, going past Latavius Mitchell and these other giants on the basketball floor, and he somehow finds his way through for a massive basket that I don't know if it puts it out of reach necessarily for Shawnee State, but being up by 3 scores, now an 8-point advantage for the UPIKE Bears. The people in the 606 right now, Brady, ought to be very, very happy about the situation they're in.
That bucket puts Warwicks into double figures. He is the third Pikeville player to do so. 30 for Teddy Parham Jr., 16 for Bradley Bunch, and 10 for the aforementioned Warwicks. 17 apiece for Latavius Mitchell and Trey Bumgarner, 12 for Brandon Beavers. Beavers for Shawnee State has 4 fouls. Mark Vance has 4 for Pikeville. As we have 1:08 left to go here in this one. Each team with 2 timeouts, and we do not have a visible view of the possession arrow as of right now. They're crowding around the official score for some reason, and it is going to be Shawnee State who would have the possession arrow favor them if indeed a jump ball is called.
Whether that will matter or not, I guess we'll find out. Although we do know one thing. Ty Compton has called a lot of timeouts to set up his defense. He has made defense a priority in this one, and so far, done him pretty well. I mean, you're holding Shawnee State, an explosive team, to 64.
He just asked the official score at the table, how many do I have left?
Hey, smoke him if you got him, buddy.
Well, and I mean, you get 6 timeouts in NAIA because you only get 2 media timeouts per break and a floater. So you basically have the same allotment as you would in the NCAA as you do NAIA. They're just called different things. As we get back to live action, 1 minute to go. Beavers picks up his dribble. Ebergut, no good. Not a great shot there as Parham was up in his grill. And Spencer ends up getting the loose ball, and he hops along the sideline and travels.
He took a hard body bump from Jaden Geis, and the refs again let it go. I mean, I get them stepping out of the way to let him kind of play a bit, but then you call a quick travel.
In my short time in NAIA in the Mid-South Conference, what I have noticed beyond anything else is it's a man's league. They let you play through a lot, and that's better than the alternative, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Here is Bumgarner with it. 49 seconds. Mitchell for 3. He'll launch. Too strong. Beavers, he's off of him, but they're going to say it's a deflection or a rebound attempt, and it's Bumgarner who drives and lays it up and in, and this time Shawnee State will call timeout with 37.5 to go, and the Shawnee State Bears trail the UPIKE Bears by 6. Still a 2-possession game, Nate. Plenty of time left to go, but Shawnee State has to get a stop here. That's non-negotiable.
They do, and UPIKE, I would imagine that the first priority is going to inbound the ball successfully. That is the first priority. After that, get it across the timeline. From there, I would think that Shawnee State would start fouling or at least reaching in to try to get a quick steal or foul, because you can't let down by 6 UPIKE drain this clock all the way down to like under 10 seconds. I mean, you got to make this 37 and a half seconds as long as humanly possible if you're a Shawnee State
If that's
Bear.
what you're saying, extend the game, what it tells me is you're going for a quick steal and you're going to foul.
Yes,
Probably
exactly.
before they cross the timeline.
If you are allowed to. I know that UPIKE is a crafty team.
Right.
They're not necessarily the biggest guys, Brady. This is what I like about UPIKE. They're not the biggest guys. They're not the most physical even, but they got heart, too. They know what they're doing. They understand their assignments, and Ty Compton has his squad extremely well coached to put them in the position that they're in to pull off what will be a minor upset, but an upset nonetheless that would get them a chance against Georgetown tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Pikeville looking for its 19th overall win of the season. They were 13-9 in conference play. Shawnee State 17-11, and they were also 13-9, but Shawnee State won the tiebreaker to get into the quarterfinals as a top 4 seed and not have to play in the first round. So two very evenly matched teams here, as it will be Parham who will inbound it. And a new player in the game there, Jalen Sincor, number 1. He checks in just to guard the inbounder.
A fresh challenger approaches, as some may say. A Sincor who gets 12 and a half minutes per game.
Did not play yet as of today out of Memphis, Tennessee. Believe they called that foul on Jaden Geist. That's what the board says. I did not hear the public address announcement, but that sends Warwicks to the line.
It's got to be hard, Brady, because the PA announcer's on the opposite side.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
No wonder the calls have been delayed.
And I don't think he has like an earpiece or anything, so he's got to kind of read lips and work on the fly.
At first, I was like, what is taking so long? And then I figured out where he was positioned, and now I'm like, wow, he's doing a great job.
He is yeoman's work over there.
I wonder if that's the same
side.
setup for the high school as well.
It could be. I've not attended a Purples game here.
Not.
So.
I bet it would be a festive atmosphere, that's for sure. As Warwicks makes the first free throw, and he rattles in the second. It's an 8-point lead here. And Shawnee State will roll the ball with 37 and a half here. Baumgartner will pick it up. Got to work quickly. He will drive to the basket and lose control of it, but it will stay here with Shawnee State. Now 31.3 seconds, as I guess they said that was off of bunch. Beavers will trigger again. And what's the foul? That's going to be a hold on Warwicks as they were trying to free up Baumgartner. That was one of those ones, a screen-to-screener action where Beavers passes it in and then gets it back on a handoff, but Warwicks actually commits the foul and gives Shawnee State a chance to go to the free throw line with the clock stop. And I don't know, they're at the scores table. Are they going to adjust the clock here? Maybe not. Either way, 30.7 left. Apparently they won't. And Baumgartner will go to the line. He was the one who was fouled, and he makes the first free throw.
Able to score with the clock stop, and then Brady, we're going to do it all over again. They're going to foul very, very quickly and hope that UPIKE misses a free throw.
So Shawnee State with just one timeout remaining. They'd like to hang on to that as long as possible, as Baumgartner makes them both, and it's now a 6-point UPIKE lead. And a whistle and a foul called before the inbound even happens. Jaden Geist doesn't look happy, but he wasn't one they called the foul on. It was Trey Baumgartner.
At least no time's going off the clock as far as Shawnee State's concerned, but you don't get the chance for the steal, which is really what they're going to need if they're going to win this ball game. They're going to need a defensive takeaway, and now they're just hoping that the local kid in Kean Warwicks
local to them, of course,
yes.
meaning UPIKE. But that was the fourth foul called on Trey Baumgartner. So 30.7 left to go. Big free throws here for Warwicks. He misses the first. Of course, the double bonus for the rest of the way, and it's been in effect for quite some time now. Warwicks can make it a 3-possession game if he makes this one, and he does. Shawnee State's got to be in a hurry. They got to score quickly, regardless if it's a 2 or 3. They'll go for 3 with Baumgartner. No good. Rebounded by Teddy Parham, and that should pretty much do it as they foul him with 20.6 seconds left to go. And the UPIKE Bears appear to have been able to advance to the semifinals here.
Again, not the biggest, not the strongest, but they do their job, Brady, and they were able to get it done today. Parham going to add some icing on the cake with a couple of free throws. What a game he's had. I know they give the Player of the Game awards at the end of each of these, and he is a shoo-in before that for this Bears team. 30 points right now, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Hot diggity dog as he knocks down a free throw.
13 for 15 from the charity stripe as well.
Getting it done, and he's taking a beating from the Shawnee State team, but he keeps on going.
If he makes this one, he will have converted 50% of his scoring at the charity stripe. And he does. So UPIKE, who lost last year in the quarterfinals to Thomas More, is 20.6 seconds away from advancing.
And this is, a battle of two teams, Brady, whose lives in the Mid-South Conference after this season, it's over. The Mid-South Conference is going to have a lot of changes in next year.
A lot of changes.
A lot of changes. And I know that it's different for some folks as far as we've got like a technical issue or something like that. I'm getting handed wires, and I don't even know what the heck's going on.
Well, you need to just get out of the way, Nate.
No, we got 20 seconds left. I don't need to get out of the way.
You just step back is what you can do.
9 points here still between these two teams. Either way.
Back off the ball a little bit. Take a deep breath.
More, though, for these two teams. Both I would think are going to be in the I feel confident still that Shawnee State should get their hat put into the ring for the NAIA National Tournament. But UPIKE, you're the 5 seed in the Mid-South. You think they're going to get in, but winning this game today really does help their chances, I would argue. It looks good, for sure.
Most definitely coming in as a 5 seed. They've already played a game before they got here, and they appear to be playing another one here tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time here at the Stuttle Financial Arena. Coming up next, it will be the Campbellsville Tigers, and Malik Mohammed from Last Chance U will take on the Freed Hardeman Lions.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun matchup. I don't know.
You've seen Last Chance U, correct?
I have seen
Last Chance U. I
hope
hope Taylor Close has as well.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to bully her about that if she hasn't. Taylor and I have only been on this earth for so long. There are only so many things we can watch.
It's called good-natured ribbing, Nate. There is a difference as they roll it in.
As we got, I'm not going to quiz her on that.
Here's Geis for 3, and he's fouled. And for the second time, he will shoot 3 free throws. That time it's Corbin Spencer who commits the foul.
I don't think that's going to come back to haunt UPIKE necessarily, but Coach Conference like, hey, man, like what are we doing here? Like, you're giving them more opportunities to make a miracle happen.
So Geis will go to the line. He'll get 3 free throws here with 13.6 seconds left. Geis misses the first.
And this was kind of a true rubber match, Brady, and it seemed to fit that bill through the game. And
each team won at their home floor during the regular season for a split. And Geis makes the second, so the substitutions can be made. Warwicks will return for UPIKE. For Shawnee State, Jalen Sincor, who played briefly, returns, and we'll get our first look at Feasel Crumby. Crumby out of Toledo, Ohio, St. Francis de Sales.
We just saw him for a bit, but yeah, Toledo, you've talked, Brady, in our past broadcasts, as that free throw does not hit the rim. Toledo, that's a little bit of a basketball powerhouse in certain places.
I'll tell you how serious it is. The girls program at Toledo Central Catholic just pretty much got kicked out of the state tournament for what they would call recruiting violations. That's how serious it is. But on the boys' side, it's Toledo St. John's, Toledo Central Catholic, and St. Francis de Sales, and that's just the parochial schools, as Bumgarner is fouled there. As Toledo, known as the Glass City.
The Glass City. That's right.
Home of the Mud Hens, if you're a baseball fan.
I don't know who they're affiliated with anymore.
I think it's the Tigers.
Okay.
I know they were
for
quite some time. I remember when Leon Durham was their hitting coach and Phil Nevin was their manager. But when they reconstructed minor league baseball, I think they still stayed with the Tigers.
I would hope so, but because that's only, an hour away from Detroit?
Yes, I would say so. Maybe an hour and a half at most, as they missed the free throw on purpose, and Parham fell down out of bounds, and it is going to stay with Shawnee State.
So 6.8 seconds to go, Brady. Again, I don't think it's long enough for a miracle to happen, but it's not March yet either.
Thomas is playing it that way.
He
trails by 7 with 6.8 left to go here. Talk about extending a game, that's exactly what he's doing. As the two teams for the next game are waiting eagerly to take the floor, and there is a lob pass and a basket by Latavius Mitchell, and Shawnee State will use its final timeout, trailing by 5 with 5.8 seconds left to go. Stranger things have happened, Nate. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but we saw a 5-point play in that women's game. Was that yesterday or the day before?
That was.
It's kind of a blur now.
I was going to say, I think that was 2 days ago.
Yeah,
but
kind of a blur.
But again, by my point, when there were 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, which feels like an hour ago, which it might have been, taking care of the basketball is going to be the key for UPIKE. If they're going to get out of here with a win, you don't turn the ball over, you're more than likely going to get it done. An inbound pass that cleanly is pulled in by one of your players on the UPIKE side means this game is over, because then you can miss your 2 free throws, and Shawnee State is going to have to go the entire length of the floor, twice to beat you? I don't see it happen. I've got the shovel. I know I'm putting dirt on the grave of Shawnee State and have been for the last minute or so, but I just, again, UPIKE, take care of business, get it done. It doesn't have to be that crazy, right? This isn't overcomplicated. Inbound the basketball. That's this entire game.
Pretty much what you got to do here. It's still a 2-possession game with 5.8 seconds left to go, but it's got to be a clean inbounds pass. And if you do somehow steal it, meaning if you are Shawnee State, you got to get up a quick bucket, and you don't have any more timeouts to work with.
That's
so
exactly
basically,
right.
He's got to not only call a defensive set, but he's got to tell them what to do in every scenario in, a 1-minute period of time.
And I would say in a spot where if you can't get it in 5 seconds, they have a timeout that they can call still. So either burn the timeout, or if you're inbounding the ball like Brady Bunch is, you could throw it kind of deep, not out of play, but if you throw it deep, that could also be a big factor, and they're going to do exactly that.
It's a run out to Parham, and he is going to lay it up and in, and that will do it. As Geis will race it across the timeline, he'll put up the prayer. It's no good, and the Pikeville Bears will move on to the semifinals, defeating Shawnee State by a score of 79-72. So the number 5 seed advances, Nate. I wouldn't necessarily call that an upset because UPIKE led pretty much throughout this one, even though it was a close contest.
Yeah, close definitely at first, and then UPIKE took a little bit of a lead, and Shawnee State couldn't be put away. Again, I think they're just too good to blow out, especially at a neutral site like this where they've had success in the past. But Pikeville, the best team today between these two, and they're going to have a chance to go up against the tough Kitty Cats, Brady, the reigning champs in the Georgetown Tigers tomorrow at 5 p.m. That's Central Time for everyone out there in the 606 that's watching back home. And they were fueled by their superstar, Brady. We talked about him early in the game. We talked about him late in the game. Teddy Parham, heck of a game for him, a season high 34 points, just unreal from the word go.
A career high during his time at Pikeville as they await the announcement. And I think Teddy is waiting for his teammates to come back and join him, but they make the announcement, 34 points and 8 rebounds. But what impressed me the most was 14 out of 16 from the free throw line.
He can take a licking but keep on ticking, right, Brady? He's tough, and he's built that way, and he's a huge, huge boost to this UPIKE team. Gives them a different edge, a different angle, and they're going to be tough to stop. I know Georgetown's an extremely good team, but they're hitting their best stride, I think, at the right moment this season, Brady. They've got 2 good wins in this conference tournament, a gutsy one against Wilberforce and another one against a tough Shawnee State team. They've got the heart, they've got the spirit, and the wherewithal. It's just a matter of can they put it all together 1 or 2 more times to maybe win this Mid-South tournament.
So the first semifinal game for tomorrow on the men's side is set.
Yes.
It'll be Georgetown taking on Pikeville. That's a 1 versus a 5 seed. And now the next 2 games coming up in the quarterfinal round will determine the nightcap, which would be the 7:30 game tomorrow. Our first game coming up next, the number 2 seed Freed Hardeman will take on the number 10 seed Campbellsville. And then in the nightcap of this one, Thomas More, the number 3 seed, takes on the number 11 seed Lindsey Wilson. Couple of Cinderellas, a couple of underdogs in those 2 games. I'll let you and Taylor Close break down those once we get into the next broadcast. But just kind of putting a bow around this one, Teddy Parham played all 40 minutes to score those career-high 34 points. Bradley Bunch did a great job off the bench with 16 points. Kean Works with 13 as well. And Teddy Parham was just special here today.
Yeah, he really was. And I know his family if they're watching from the West Coast, or I don't know if they made the trip here today, but wherever they're at, I'm sure he is very, very they're very happy with the effort that he put forward, but they're going to need a lot more from him. And I don't know if he can play 40 minutes every game, if they're going to need him again for 40 against Georgetown, but Georgetown is going to present a new challenge, and maybe even tougher challenge. I would think a tougher challenge even than Shawnee State provides. And it's not going to be simple. It rarely is in the Mid-South Conference, but they've got a live chance to get to the championship game, a place where they haven't been to in several years. So it'd be the first time under Ty Compton. So the opportunity has presented itself. Let's see him execute tomorrow.
So it's a quick turnaround for the next game, so we'll wrap it up real quick. Just looking at Shawnee State real fast, they were led in scoring by Trey Baumgartner with 22 points, Latavius Mitchell 19 points and 12 rebounds, and the only other double-figure scorer was Brandon Beavers. He had 12 points and 5 assists to wrap things up for Shawnee State, who falls to 17 and 11. No, they fall to 17 and 12. Pikeville improves to 19 and 11 as we have concluded the top half of the quarterfinal bracket, and it's time to move to the bottom half, and it's time for me to depart, Mr. Nate Metz. It's been a pleasure through these first 6 games. I'm sure that you'll be in great hands with Taylor Close coming up next.
Yeah, Taylor should. She's walking into the building right now, so she's ready to go. Brady, thank you for your help here on the Mid-South Sports Network. We had a lot of fun, close games, too. I mean, 4 out of the 6 were very competitive, and I would say that there are more fun ones to have, but you got assignments to take care of.
That's right.
Special
assignment, got business to take care of,
and
I'm sure it's in good hands. But I just want to close out here today. After 6 games, had a great time. My first experience down here for the Mid-South Conference, and I really appreciate your help, Nate, for getting me on board. I want to thank my man, Zach Hawkins. Does a great job behind the glass. He's the one that kept us on the air the whole time, the unsung hero, and don't forget our cameraman, Scott from Scott High School. Scott Herndon, right?
Yep, you got it, man.
Scott from Scott High School. And Taylor will get to talk about comparing notes, how she knows people from Scott High School because of her playing days as a stud for the Campbell County Lady Camels.
Exactly.
I'll let you guys take care of that. For Nate, Zach, and Scott, and coming up, Taylor Close, this is Brady Labor saying goodbye from the Studel Financial Arena here on the campus of Bowling Green High School, the home of the Purples, where the final score one last time was Pikeville 79, Shawnee State 72. Until next time, we'll see you in just 20 minutes or so.